laughing on the social media. How can he use bottles to irrigate? Now, 16 months afterwards, and everything we started has matured.
News Hour, weekdays at 8 p.m. on UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Are you in need of a news package that is thorough and satisfying? A news package free of distortion? Then your uncertain moments are over. News Hour now brings you comprehensive news facts, updates, and analysis with all loose ends tied. News Hour, a production of Current Affairs section of UBC. Get it and digest it every weekday, 8 to 9 p.m. across all UBC radio networks.
Hello there, welcome to this Friday edition of News Hour. My name is Juliet Naiga and my producer is Catherine Nambi. In News Hour tonight, Fallen Court of Appeal Judge Kenneth Kakulu has been hailed as a man of his word during a funeral service at All Saints Church. Accountants have been urged to guard against corruption, and East African Community Ministry is stuck with money to pay pensioners. These and many stories, including sports, foreign news, upcountry to come your way. But first, the main news bulletin by Spora Ajua.
Thank you, Julie. Good evening, listeners. We're glad you're joining us for UBC Radio News. I'm AJ Spoiler. These are the news headlines. Election petition challenging victory of Ida Nantaba as Kayunga woman MP dismissed. Police in Kasese district investigating circumstances under which a gun was dumped in Nyakatonzi sub-county. And Mozambique is bracing for the impact of Cyclone Freddy. High Court in Mukono has dismissed an election petition challenging victory of Ida Nantaba as Kayunga district woman member of parliament. In 2021, Nantaba stood on an independent ticket and defeated 6 other candidates after garnering 47,725 votes. But Nazigo sub-county councillor Rita Navada challenged Nantaba's victory and petitioned Mukono High Court accusing her of voter bribery. Mukono High Court Judge Olive Kazare Mukwaya dismissed Navada's petition on grounds of incompetence and lack of the supportive 500 signatures from the registered voters in the district. Navada appealed challenging Kazare's decision. Last year, a panel of 3 Court of Appeal justices comprising Geoffrey Chiriabwire, Stephen Musota and Christopher Gashirabake set aside the decision by the Mukono High Court and ordered a fresh trial. This afternoon, Justice Anselm Collins ruled that the petition against Nantaba is not competent because it was not properly supported by the request signatures of 500 registered voters in Kayunga district as required by the law. On accusations of voter bribery and distribution of food and other items at Kambatani village, Justice Anselm said that Navada failed to prove that Nantaba committed any electoral offences. Justice Anselm also ruled that each party bears its own costs. 11 teachers of government schools in Sembabule district will face disciplinary action for consistently posting high failure rates in final examinations. During a meeting held to assess the level of service delivery and implementation of government programs in the area, leaders expressed great concern about the high number of failures in last year's primary leaving examinations PLE. According to the 2022 results by the Uganda National Examination Board UNEB, Sembabule district, out of the 589 pupils who registered for PLE, 11.8% failed, while 283 pupils did not write the exams. Simon Seboa, the LC5 councillor from Mabindo sub-county, says they can no longer tolerate the non-performing teachers in the area, arguing that these have become a liability to the district's education department. Julia Sebugwawo, an opinion leader from Remiaga sub-county, has warned that communities may be prompted to force out the non-performing teachers should the responsible authorities fail to take appropriate action about the situation. Muhammad Chigwe, the Sembabule District Education Officer, says they're going to sit as a department to discuss the suggestion for possible consideration. He, however, also challenged the local leaders to be proactive and fight chronic absenteeism of the learners in their area, saying it is also one contributing factor to poor performance. Civil society organizations advocating for the rights of people living with HIV have urged government to embrace technologies that could help improve access to antiretroviral therapies for people living with HIV. While 90% of the 1.3 million adult Ugandans living with HIV are estimated to have enrolled on treatment, activists who addressed journalists on Friday say retention in care remains a problem for especially women living in hard-to-reach areas who still have to move long distances to access their medicines. Fiona Rinaitwe, a programs officer at Uganda Network on Law, Ethics and HIV/AIDS, UGANET, said the fight against HIV would have been made easier if the government adopted innovations that enable people living with HIV access information that would help them improve their quality of life. She suggests having call centers that would allow clients to speak to their health providers without physical meetings as a way of curbing stigma, especially for those that are newly enrolled in treatment. However, while such innovations have been tried with especially donor-funded projects, such services immediately close when the funders pull out. According to the activists, the government should develop a platform that guides and alerts clients on which facilities are experiencing a stockout and refer them to alternatives where medicines can be accessed. Moses Nsubuga, who has been living with HIV for over 20 years, says this approach would involve sending a text message, has worked elsewhere and can help Uganda make strides in hitting the UN AIDS targets of attaining virus suppression and eventually ending AIDS as an epidemic by 2030. In our stories across the borders, fighting erupted Friday between M23 militiamen and government troops near the eastern DR Congo city of Goma, where a European massive flight arrived in the afternoon, sources said. The aid mission is the first in an airlift announced last Saturday by the European Union to help the city. After a day of relative calm, clashes unfolded early Friday near the village of Murambi, less than 30 kilometers west of Goma, local officials said. Murambi is the last settlement before the town of Sake, considered the city's last bulwark. Leopoldo Busange, a spokesman for civil society groups in Sake, said the population is starting to panic again. Fighting was already reported further north, around 70 kilometers from Goma, an official there said. Goma, the capital of North Kivu province, has been under threat since the M23 launched an offensive last year after reviving from dormancy in 2021. The Democratic Republic of Congo accuses its neighbor Rwanda of supporting the group, something that Kigali denies, and regional countries have deployed a joint force aimed at stabilizing the region. Mozambique is bracing for the impact of Cyclone Freddy, which is expected to make landfall there in the next 24 hours after battling its way through Madagascar earlier this week. Anne-Claire Fortner from the World Meteorological Organization said. She described Freddy as very dangerous and says Mozambique can expect to see violent winds as well as the threat of flooding. Once Freddy makes landfall, it will mark the second time it has hit Mozambique, having previously hit the country in February. Fontaine described Freddy as remarkable because of how it has rapidly intensified and gained wind over its lifetime so far. At least 21 people have died as a result of Freddy, and it is expected to cause more destruction when it hits Mozambique. It could end up in the history books as the longest-lasting tropical storm on record, although this is not yet confirmed. Finally, a Ghanaian gang of 3 has been sentenced to a combined 73-year jail term for robbing and raping some British volunteers at gunpoint. The trio had pleaded guilty to all charges of conspiracy, robbery, rape, and possession of firearms without lawful authority. A high court in Accra sentenced each of them to a maximum term of 25 years jail term. Justice Mary Mameekweyanzu said the victims will serve their jail term with hard labor. The 3 were accused of committing the offences at a guest house in December in 2018. Here is another quick look at our news headlines for this hour. Election petition challenging victory of Ida Nantaba as Kayunga woman MP dismissed. Police in Kasese district investigating circumstances under which a gun was dumped in Nyakatonzi sub-county, and Mozambique is bracing for the impact of Cyclone Freddy. That's all the news we had time for from here, the entire news team. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for news.
Thank you, Spola. Now let's go for a break. We'll be back with the details of the stories in News Hour program.
The Uganda Water and Environment Week is back. Join us as we deliver value internally and externally by promoting a multinational integrated approach that links all sectors of water and environment, and also explore and deliberate on the water and environment resources to climate resilience. The week commemorates 3 sector days of World Water Day, World Forestry Day, and World Meteorological Day. The Uganda Water and Environment Week will take place from 12th to 17th March 2023 at the Ministry of Water and Environment headquarters in Luzira, under the theme Water and Environment for Climate Resilient Development.
Uganda Water and Environment Week is organized by Ministry of Water and Environment through the Water Resources Institute with support from development partners.
Your favorite national, accurate, balanced, concise and comprehensive newscast. News Hour at 1 p.m. from Monday to Friday, right here on UBC Radios. UBC, inspiring Uganda. News Hour Weekend Edition. News Hour Weekend Edition airs every Saturday from 8 to 9 p.m., featuring top stories of the week. Make a date with UBC Radio as we bring you the weekly news roundup.
Welcome back. You're tuned to UBC Radio. This is News Hour with me, Juliet Naiga, and Catherine Nambi is my producer. Let's roll. The fallen Court of Appeal Judge, Justice Kenneth Kakuru, has been described as a man of his word. Justice Kenneth Kakuru, aged 65, died on Tuesday at Aga Khan Hospital in Nairobi, Kenya, where he was undergoing treatment for prostate cancer. He has been hailed for speaking the truth despite the discomfort it could cause to those that did not agree with him. Catherine Nambi reports.
Hundreds have gathered at All Saints Church for a Thanksgiving ceremony to celebrate the life of Court of Appeal Judge Justice Kenneth Kakuru, who died on Tuesday. The service was led by the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Dr. Samuel Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, who said the church has been so proud of Justice Kakuru, who was also a son of the clergy.
Like Right Honorable Mambabazi and his wife, these are children of clergy and lay readers. So I want to thank God for people like, there are many others here, children of clergy. We are so grateful. But sometimes I visit schools and you want to meet the children of the clergy, they are hiding. They don't want to be seen. So a man like Justice Kenneth has really stood the test of children of clergy.
He said Justice Kakuru served well with integrity and that he was a man of his word. Justice Kakuru was a member of the choir of the Anglican Friends at All Saints Church, Nakasero. According to Dr. Kazimba Mugalu, Justice Kakuru was a chancellor or legal advisor of the Ankole Diocese. He also served as a member of the Provincial Assembly of the Church of Uganda. The assembly is the lawmaking body of the church. The Thanksgiving ceremony was attended by Chief Justice Alphonse Owinyidolo, Deputy Chief Justice Richard Butera, the Principal Judge Flavian Zieja. Other judges included Mike Chibita, Geoffrey Chiriabwire, Lydian Tibatemwa, Faith Monda, Irene Modiagonja, Retired Justice Remi Kasure, senior members of the judiciary, ministers Kahindo Tafire and Hanifa Kawoya, among others. Justice Kakuru will be remembered as the only judge whose ruling opposed the amendment of the Constitution to remove the 75 age limit for a person seeking to run for the office of the President of Uganda. He, in 2021, stunned many when he wrote to President Yoweri Museveni seeking to retire before he clocked the mandatory retirement age for judges. While his retirement was not granted, there were speculations that there was cold blood between him and his boss, Chief Justice Alphonse Owinyidolo. Owinyidolo told mourners in church that he had no problem with Kakuru. He said he appointed him in charge of organizing the registry and courts listing. The Chief Justice, however, agrees that Justice Kakuru was very assertive as a judge and that he made his points in a strong way.
I didn't know anybody could intimidate Kenneth until one of the papers, I don't remember which paper, Maria knows what I'm speaking about, came out with some story about he and I having disagreed, or there was some altercation, which was not true. So Kenneth came literally bursting into my office. My Lord, this is a help me. Now, this is a person known to be very strong-willed, pleading that I should help him. I said, what's the matter? Say, help me with my sister. My sister is called, she's rebuking me. She said, how can you do this to your boss who is your friend? Say, please, you know it is not true. Call her and speak to her. So I spoke to Maria and said, this is not true. And that saved him. So even the strongest personality has someone who intimidates him or her. And I think Maria was.
Justice Kakuru's elder sister, Mary Maria Baryanjwa, told mourners that the late ticked all the boxes into perfection right from his childhood. Baryanjwa said the late, on being appointed judge, made it clear to his family not to interfere with his work.
There are incidents, people knew how close I was to him, where people came to give me a bribe to take to him. They came, but then I looked at them and I said, if I take this bribe, if I even open my mouth about it to Kakuru, I will be the first person to be arrested. And I'm believing it.
Justice Kakuru has left behind a widow with toddler twins, 4 daughters and grandchildren, some of whom were born a month before he died. He will be buried tomorrow, Saturday, at his ancestral home in Rebishuri, Mbarara district. For News Hour, I am Catherine Nambi.